We're in for 82. Yeah. Of course, it doesn't work since some years though.
That's all. Somebody.
Hey, madam, how are you today? I'm supposed to sign these plans somewhere. I don't see where to sign it. There ain't nowhere to sign on here. Double check it. I don't see it. All right, we got the displays running, Madam Administrator?
Not quite. He's putting it up now, sir.
Put it up now.
There it is.
All right, Madam Clerk, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. We apologize. We're a few minutes late. The time is now 2:11 for this SPLOS 9 meeting. Madam Administrator, the floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the governing body. We are here today to resume our discussions on SPLOS 9. So I will remind you before we begin going into some of the discussion of the respective timeline for us to meet the May 19th ballot. Working backward from the timeline, we have scheduled 2 work sessions. We have one scheduled for today, and we have another one that is scheduled for December 4th. We are hoping that the commission will be ready to approve the final SPLOS 9 list at your January 6th meeting. That will allow adequate time for us to finalize with Blythe and Hephzibah and prepare the SPLOS resolution for your approval at the second meeting in January. Please note that these meeting dates might change slightly as we receive the final 2026 calendar from Ms. Bonner. Are there any questions in regards to the timeline? At the October 28th Finance Committee meeting, I shared the respective updates to my recommendations since we left off discussion in August. Those changes are highlighted in blue on the SPLOS 9 list that you received in your agenda packet, as well as the list on this slide. To review them briefly for the benefit of any commissioners that were not present that day, the first 2 are related to the boathouse. Based on apparent consensus on August 12th, we have added the $14 million under quality of life to the Riverwalk and Boathouse reconstruction project for a full renovation and rebuild of the boathouse facility. In order to bond this project, $2.5 million in bond interest was added to the existing total in the general government category. In addition, since August 12th, we have received updated cost estimates from the architects working on the Craig Horton facility for our juvenile court. They have been working with the courts to reduce the scope of the project from an original estimate of over $40 million. They were attempting to bring the project in at $15 million in SPLOS 9, but based on their current estimates, $20 million is a more realistic total. So we have added the additional $5 million to the SPLOS 9 project under our general government. We have also added an additional $4 million for construction management services for some of our major building projects. This SPLOS 9 package includes several very large building projects, and for SPLOS 6, we benefited from having a construction management firm help to coordinate and control costs for the major projects. Finance recommended that we consider a similar approach for SPLOS 9. This $4 million amount represents about 3% of the cost of those projects, which is likely a reasonable fee. And finally, under other governments, when our Richmond County costs change, We also adjust our allocation to Blythe and Hephzibah to maintain their ratios of 0.9% and 3% respectively. The total increase is $160,000 for Blythe and $730,000 for Hephzibah. If you approve the SPLOST list as it stands with these additions, it totals about $434 million, which finance is projecting will take about 78 months for us to collect, or 6.5 years. At the October 28th session, the Sheriff's Office also presented an update to their request. You may recall that they had initially requested $100 million for 2 new pods and 300 total new beds. We reduced that amount to $50 million by eliminating one of the pods. Since then, they have been exploring other construction methods, and their designers estimate that by using prefabricated components, they will be able to build the desired 300 beds at a much lower cost. They are asking to add back $20 million to add that pod back, bringing the total to $70 million. The project also currently includes $15 million for renovations to the existing facility. So the total allocation for Webster would be $85 million. The Sheriff's Office is also asking for $3 million per year for vehicle replacement, with SPLOST 9 extending out to 6 years. They are asking for the additional $3 million, or an $18 million total. Finally, as before, if we increase the Augusta allocation, we again will have to do the adjustments for Blythe and Hephzibah. If you add all these items, the new total would be around $457 million. That would add an estimated 4 months to the SPLOST 9 collection, bringing it up to 82 months, which is 6.8 years. You have the full list of recommended and requested projects in your packet. We also have department directors here for any questions that you may have. My hope for today is that we can start to seek consensus about the final list. So if any of you would like to propose adding or removing any projects from the recommended list, that is the feedback we definitely would love to have. I would just respectfully request that we check for a consensus about those items as we go so that the staff will know how to proceed. I will now open it up for any questions or feedback.
Thank you, Madam Administrator. Colleagues, do we have any questions? Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we have some of the department head directors, Sheriff and Fire, do we want to see if we can hear from them, if they have any comments, maybe for us to listen to? Is that okay to see? Just see if they have anything to say. So hear anything from them is what I'm curious.
All right, any directors? Any directors interested in adding any dialogue to this conversation?
Mayor Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to ask the sheriff office a question when it comes to.
You got it. All right, you got it.
Which one?
All right, I'll tell you what. Chief, since you moved first, we're going to recognize the commissioner from the 3rd and then the 9th. Chief, you feel free to come up. Chief Blanchard, just sit tight. We'll be with you in just a second, okay? All right?
Good afternoon, governing body. Just wanted to appear to see if there is any questions that you may have in regards to our ask in terms of SPLOST.
All right. Don't see any.
Okay.
Don't see any. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Chief Blanchard. Let's come on this side so the administrator could stay set up there. All right. Commissioner from the 9th, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Chief Blanchard, I believe if I'm hearing correct, Administrator Allen said that you would look at other ways in terms of cost saving to bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you start looking or researching what will you be doing? Is it similar to what the Department of Correction has with the I'm blocking on the name. But it would be.
Prefab construction.
Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
who would be doing it? Have y'all start looking at someone to actually build and about how much it would cost?
Yes, ma'am. So similar to Aiken County, we went on a tour with Administrator Allen and a few others. We've also toured some others, including Chatham County. And the prefab construction, while not as, and I hate to use the word as secure, it's not quite as stringent. It allows us to move different things around and put less violent prisoners in those pods for the 288 that we would do, and we would still continue to put the most violent offenders within inside our brick and mortar jail that's already there. We were looking for 300 beds, but 288's pretty doggone close. That would be 2 pods. As far as who would actually do the building, we're still a little bit premature there. That would be once you've, allocated the funds, then we would put it out through RFP. So far, and Tim can correct me if I'm wrong, we have a designer that you used previous SPLOST money for, and they've gotten us ready, and they're proceeding with getting it, for an RFP. But until you have the money to build, that wouldn't take place. And then as far as the cost, basically you were looking at around 98 million, and that's why we originally asked for 100 million if we were going with full brick and mortar, and that includes the fact that it'll take a couple of years to build, so pricings can change. Right now, under the prefab, they came to around 69 point something million, so we just asked for a flat 70 to make sure that we were able to cover everything for the 288 beds.
Okay. I have one additional question, Mayor Johnson.
Please continue.
What about staffing?
So I don't have that in front of me right this moment, but yes, we did provide the administrator what it would cost for additional staffing for the future. The design has a lot to do with staffing. So we've looked at the design that uses the most minimal staffing possible. So for example, the tower in our current facility, in order to watch all the pods, requires a minimum of 2 people on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which equates to 9 employees, because that's 2 people, 4 shifts, that's 8 employees, and then with off time, that's 9 employees, so it takes 9 employees to cover 2 positions. In this particular model, we've looked at where the tower could handle with 1 employee. You still have to have people for the floor no matter what you do to respond to fights and situations, serve meals, pill call, those kind of things. But we've done it with the limited amount of staffing as possible, because staffing is always going to be your number 1 expense. But that does include a lot of cameras and technology that are being used within the facility.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 9th. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Lonnie Wimberly.
Mr. Mayor, this is for the administrator.
Yes, sir. Proceed. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, now,
Chief, is there anything else you need
I
to
did
add?
just want to talk for 1 second, but we can
Okay.
wait.
All right. Let's get this question. Just stay close. All
Oh,
right.
no, go ahead and finish up what you had.
All right. So the Commissioner from the 4th is yielding to allow you to
Yeah,
discuss.
Finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in regards to so just 2 comments. In regards to the jail, no matter what we do to speed up the process, we are still going to need those facilities. Right now, at this particular juncture, we are 300 over almost on a daily basis. At any time, we must realize that we could be directed to move those people out and bring it back down. The other thing about a jail that most laypersons don't quite get is if you build a jail designed for 1,000 people, that means it's generally built to hold about 850 to 900 at any given time. And the reason being is because of classification. We have various gangs in Augusta. We have various other problems with mental health. We have various other problems with sex offenders, and they all have to be separated. If we put those people together in different pods, you end up with more fights, you end up with more stabbings, you end up with more people so it's either pay me now or pay me later, because you're going to pay for medical and you're going to pay for lawsuits. And I think everybody on this commission already knows the jail is one of our number 1 places where we end up with lawsuits. So the need is there, even if we are able to speed up the judicial system, and that's our goal. We just met with the assistant administrator in regards to please restarting the jail committee. Our goal is to lower the jail population as much as possible. It's necessary, and that's going to be the best savings for the county, and then to expedite getting them to prison if they're guilty. That's also going to help us. But you got to remember, we're in a state where they're maxed out as well. So sometimes they just don't take them, and they pay us half the amount of what it's costing us to continue to house their prisoners until they're able to take them. In regards to the vehicles, we stick with our original number. I mean, that's 6.5 years. That only gets us X number of vehicles per year. Our fleet is aging. Sometimes we are at fault because we do get into wrecks, but we're driving 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The numbers provided by fleet are accurate for vehicles, but they don't include all of the emergency lighting, equipment, and everything else. Also, the numbers provided by fleet, if you look at year one and you look at the 6th year, they're basically going off of the fact that a vehicle price doesn't change during that time period. There's no way to say that a vehicle isn't going to continue to go up in price. Right now, an average police car with the basic equipment without anything from IT, such as computers and cameras, is $67,000. That's us buying the vehicle and equipping it. And the reason being is because they've stopped making police cars. There's no more Dodge Charger. There's no more Ford Explorer. You know, all we're getting is SUVs now, and they just cost more. So that's why we need the vehicles.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Chief? I'm sorry. I'm going to come to Commissioner from the 4th who's yielded for the question with the Administrator. Director Williams, you're up next, okay? All right. Commissioner from the 4th, you have the floor, sir.
You did a great job on explaining your numbers, and 80% of it went over my head. So the column that I should be paying attention to is the updated column?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because you call out some numbers for example, for Blytheton, for Hepzibah, that I didn't see those numbers anywhere that you was talking about. So that's what was confusing me.
Yes, sir. We have to give a certain percentage to them.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Wimberly. Chair recognizes Commissioner Francine Scott.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. This is for Administrator Allen. With request to do rebuild for the pods, have we took in consideration, or did the sheriff put in consideration the upkeep of the building? Because since I've been here, we build new things and then we have to go back and do upkeeps and all of that. So how do we, something is fine, how do we build additional money into the SPLOST, or do we look at this at something in our budget?
Yes, ma'am. So as these buildings are erected, then you'll have to look at that as part of your operational budget, because those would be operating expenses. But they did, denote that they would have to have staffing for this, as well as maintenance. I think that's what you're referring to, the maintenance cost.
Yes,
Other question.
continue, Commissioner.
On our page 2, the boathouse, with the renovation or whatever we're going to do with that, the money for the upkeep would come from from operation as well?
Yes, ma'am. Because those are operational expenses. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. From the 9th, Chair recognizes Commissioner Tina Slindak from the 7th.
Thank you. I was looking at these columns, and like my colleague, Mr. Wimberly, made sure I was looking at the right one. So, excuse me. Is somebody here from Parks and Rec that I can talk to? I have a question about new park and community center. And then while they're coming up, Administrator Allen, the money, the $5 million for May Park and $2 million for South Augusta Water Park, that's did not make your recommendations, is that correct?
So the additional funds, Commissioner Slindak?
No, well, I see where it says your updated recommendations was nothing, and then it says other requests since the 7/23 was 5. So I want to know, is that in the
Now, we still
That was
have,
just requested, but that didn't get put in.
yes, ma'am. Unless it was given a consensus through the body.
So where I see those two little dashes under updated administrator's recommendation, that means those funds are not going to be
There
in.
wasn't a consensus.
Good, okay. The New Park Community Center, I don't know who I'm speaking, Mr. Latson, the director, $2 million. Can you tell me what type or how big of a park that $10 million is going to buy? Do we have anything comparable already? I mean, is it going to be just like a playground or something, or is it going to be like Diamond Lakes or what?
Commissioner, that New Park Community Center was the one that we was talking about, replacing the Sue Reynolds Community Center on that side of the county. And so we kind of just gauged it of how the facilities were built for Henry Brigham, and so kind of took that estimate.
So you're saying they want something that on the scale of the Henry Brigham Center with the pool and the gyms and all of that?
Just a facility where the gym, the fitness center, walking track and inside, a facility similar to that.
With the gym?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to be the most hated person on Facebook, but tonight. But I'm not sure we need another rec center. I know that some of the people that live out there want it, but until we take care of some of these other ones, I'm going to go on record. I think that needs to be out of there. So that's just me.
So if that's a project to be removed, is that a consensus?
All right. Commissioner from the 9th, I'm going to give you the floor. So the commissioner from the 7th is requesting that the recreation center be removed. Commissioner from the 9th, I'm going to let you chime in, then I'm going to come back, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with my colleague, Ms. Lynette from 7th, because we already trying to do away with some recreation centers and some park, and $10 million is not going to be enough. We learned that from Henry Brigham, bringing something back. I know it's a want, but right now, until we can fully identify the recreation centers that we have now, I think it'll be irresponsible for us to even consider doing something. I know they need it in that area, but right now I just don't see it. And we are trying to be good stewards of our money. And we always saying we need money, we don't have money, so why are we getting in debt with something else right now? And you won't be the hated one, Tina, it'll be me since that's my district. And also, at May Park, I just left May Park. Public Health is over there almost once a month doing something in partnering with Parks and Recreation, and I think it'll be a disservice for us. Hopefully we'll keep that $5 million in there. We just had some money that we got from the state that they're getting ready to do some renovation. So I will not vote for a new recreation center in that area. And besides, when I first was elected to this body, some of the builders who was building over in the area had offered the community some space and that they would help with purchasing the land or help develop the land for a recreation centers, and they did not take the offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. I'm going to go on the record in that that District 3 and 5 along that Jimmy Dias Quarter is the fastest growing sector of our community. And these dollars that, when approved by the voters, it's going to take 5 to 7 years for these dollars to actually come in so that we could build a recreation center. And I think as we talk about how we consolidate, I think it's just that, we deliver something to them. It's not going to be next year, the next 2 or 3 years. We're looking 5 to 7 years down the road, and potentially those dollars, if that community continues to grow at the pace that it's growing, I think they need something over there. So I'm gonna support that the dollars stay there for the sake of that community and for the youth that live in that corridor to have some place to go, and also continue to have conversations about how we consolidate the existing parks that we have in the city. So the chair is going to recognize the commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna agree with my colleagues from the 9th and the 7th to an extent that, yes, we got a lot of parks, and we've said this, that are not utilized, and if we would do away with some of these parks that aren't utilized, we would have the money to put towards making the ones that are utilized better. When we were just saying, you were just saying about Sue Reynolds, correct? We're talking about the Sue Reynolds, what's existing now over off of Maddox. Is it Maddox? I'm trying to think.
The one that's existing
Okay.
now, to replace that with a new park facility.
All right, there's where I feel like there's a problem because of the fact that I've talked to many constituents over the past couple of years who do not want to have a center there. They have expressed that, and I'm saying that that's off of Wrightsboro Road, and at one time, that center, special place, but it's no longer, when I talk to people in the Bel Air Hills Estates, they got their own park, but still, you talk to people off of residents off of Jimmy Dias Parkway, Gordon Highway. They are looking for a facility, a community center over in that direction. No longer do they want to be over where Sue Reynolds is. And I do say that it is the fastest growing, and like the mayor said, it's going to take a couple of years to be able to do something like this. But we have sat here on this dais and we've told them, I can even say that I've echoed and said that, yeah, we're going to eventually get a center somewhere for you. But that's not the place that I'd want to put my money into over at Sue Reynolds. And I don't know, that might be one that we might want to say down the road that we do away with and look at putting the money towards over in the area of Jimmy Dias Gordon Highway area.
Well, it wasn't
residents.
finalized that if a new park, community center would go specifically there. It was just some discussion that it would take the place of where the current Sue Reynolds. So if the decision later on is to put it in a different location, it would be the one to serve
Right,
that.
but yeah, I can't support right now sitting up here. I've been over and looked at the Sue Reynolds that's existing, and I just don't see any reason to be putting money there when we can put money elsewhere for the residents closer to where more of the neighborhoods are, the Gordon Highway. But as far as supporting and giving money towards the Sue Reynolds, I'm like a few of my colleagues, I can't support putting money there at that center, at that particular, to make it better over there. I just don't see a reason to do it. That's not what the residents, most of them do not want that over there.
Okay, and for my clarification, what you're saying is that if you would support it, it would just be in a different location, not at the current location where the Sue Reynolds is.
Correct. I think that might be one of the parks and areas, one of the ones that we look at maybe eventually doing away with, because we got so many of them, and that one's nothing's being used. I mean, it's not being utilized. It's not.
And so that's what I was saying with currently with this amount, this is what it's saying that it would take to build that facility. So the determination of where it would go, I'm sure that would be some, other communication if it shows, choose to stay there or definitely move it somewhere else, and that would be, more of a, look into where it would could actually be placed.
Well, I'm with the mayor on this. We do know we do, I shouldn't say the word "oh," but we do need to acknowledge the residents in the neighborhoods and the fast-growing, that it is the fastest-growing, and we need to look in the areas around there somewhere to put a nice facility there. And like the mayor said, it'll take a couple of years to get funding, but yeah, I'm with my other two colleagues on as far as putting money at the Sue Reynolds. It's a no. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Latson, I can't see you. Are you still there? Give us a timeline. If this item were approved, $10 million, what is the timeline before you can even think about either design or construction? This isn't something that's going to happen in 2 or 3 years. What's the normal timeline if this were to be approved by the voters?
I guess in general, a timeline. If you build this building a different place, you have to acquire the property. So that might take some time. That could be a year, 2 years. It depends. Design-wise, a new building, your design normally takes longer than construction, the planning and the design. So you're probably looking at a minimum 2 to 3 years for design, especially when you're doing like municipalities or government type stuff. After that, construction probably the shortest period should take between a year and a half, probably more than a year and a half to probably 2 years. So total, you're probably looking at probably 6 to 7 years. That's probably after you get the funds.
You have to get the funds. And Madam Administrator, how long does it take to get the funds before we can even start talking design and construction and all that? We got to collect the pennies for how long?
So it's also going to depend on whether or not this is a project you want to bond.
Okay.
Yeah, because you could bond that actual project as well.
Okay, but if it's not bonded, it's still...
You have to wait till the collection period.
7 years of collections. Okay. All right. Thank you, Madam Administrator. Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Lonnie Wimler, sir, you have the floor.
I'm hearing a lot of money being talked about, Mr. Mayor. Couple of questions here. On the May Park, and this is for the mayor and Ms. Williams. On the May Park, the information that I've been hearing about some of the renovation that's taking place, does that have anything to do with this $5 million?
No. The current May Park project is a grant project that we're moving forward on, and that'll be completed October of next year.
So what would this $5 million do?
So we need some additional funds to be able to upkeep and maintain the facility. There are some cosmetic things that need, some structural things, and just the overall improvement of the park. So that's what their additional funds are being allocated for that.
Are we taking down the current structure to rebuild new, or you just painting over?
It could be add-ons, it could be cosmetic things, structural things.
Same old building, huh? Getting over here to the new park, and I'm in agreement with my colleagues on the location, and I mean it's a horrible location because it's isolated pretty much. There's no room for growth unless you acquire some more property back there. Okay. So that definitely is a bad place, and I can agree with Mr. Latson as far as one of your biggest problems is going to be acquiring property to place it on, and depending on where you acquire that, you might be buying it for $10 million. My next one is, on our budget discussion, we're talking about one of the possibilities of having to cut some 200 bodies from the workforce. So how would we man that? I know we're saying 7 years down the road to even get started, but we'll still be maybe 200 and some workforce body short. And so that definitely will affect recreation. So what would be the plans on manning this and the operation of it? None, right?
Commissioner Wembley, I think it's going to be dependent too on what the governing body determines how they want to proceed with the divestment of some of the parks and facilities. Because there are people assigned to those facilities as well. But I you know, where you're saying it's going to be years down, yes, sir, we would have to make sure that those staff is budgeted into the actual project.
Now, in my point again, though, most of what I've seen is as far as possible on the chopping block are parks that are not necessarily manned. Because I didn't hear Diamond Lake on the chopping block, I didn't hear Henry Brigham on the chopping block, I didn't hear McDuffie on the chopping block. Did I miss one?
No, that's correct. Most,
Okay,
most are, they're parks.
So I can see Dyers Park been on there. I can see Dyers Park as part of the renovation going on for Dyers Park right now, right? Scheduled renovation.
It's in design.
It's in design, okay. So, having said all that, I still don't see where the bodies would come to even man a new structure if we went through with force reduction, workforce reduction. Where's all that?
Well, are you talking about if a new facility is built?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if a new facility is built, then, you know, we're pre-planned, you know, in the year that we're expecting the facility to be up, we'll go ahead and pre-plan for what positions would need to be at that location to provide whatever programs and services that we're having. So I know, you know, right now, if it was to be approved, then at least a couple of years down, we'll be, you know, working on that because we know a new building will be coming up, and then we got to prepare staff that's going to be working at that site.
Are you short of staff now?
Yeah, we all, you know, are short of staff.
Thank you. I don't have anything else, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Commissioner from the 4th. All right, Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Commissioner Tina Slendet.
Oh, and it didn't really have anything to do with this. I was just going to ask if you two could remain after the meeting. I need to talk to you about something. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Francine Scott from the 9th, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Back with the new facility, I believe, I can't find the paperwork now, but I believe it was a property already identified for this new facility. Am I just dreaming? that the county had some money for a potential site?
I don't recall us identifying the location, Commissioner Scott.
Okay, so we don't, so we'll have to purchase land before we even, excuse me, before we even think about the design and all of that.
Yes, ma'am. You are correct. There were some various discussions about property in that area that could be available, but we didn't determine anything.
Okay.
But yes, ma'am.
But do you know if we have some property in the area?
The only property that I am aware of is the one that we own where Sue Reynolds is currently located.
Okay. Okay, and still, I think Make Park needs to be in there because that's one of the heavy traffic community participation at that park, and we can't just let it fall down. Even if with the $5 million grant that we got from the state, we really, really need to put some work in there. So I think the $5 million is justified. Thank you, Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 9th. All right, Madam Administrator, I don't see any colleagues in the queue. Director Williams, is there anything additional you'd like to add? And I'll come to you in just a second, okay?
Yeah, so I wanted to just add that, and it's not here, I've had some conversation with our consultants, and one of the things that we know that this commission had already did was approve the Augusta Tomorrow plan. And so with that, the Augusta Commons is in that plan. If we're talking about at least the next 10 years, looking at that plan, we probably want to also consider adding that into the inventory of parks and recreation, the Augusta Commons, because it is not on this list. However, we know that within the next 10 years, we're, honoring the plan that was approved, then that's something that we probably need to look at. And so with consideration of that, we need to bring back some figures on kind of what that looks like. We need to bring back master plan for Augusta Commons. We can do that as well, but I wanted to at least put that on the table because you're talking about between 5 to 7 years of getting SPLOST money, and I think that will need to be looked at.
Thank you, Director Williams, for that foresight, and I would agree with you in that the Augusta Tomorrow plan that this city adopted, that Augusta Common does play a vital role in that redevelopment of that park, and it extends all the way to the river, so I would agree with you there. All right, Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Leonard Wimberly.
Mr. Mayor, were you asking for a consensus on this $5 million for May Park?
I have not asked for consensus,
Okay.
but if this body would like to, let's call for it. Are you asking for consensus on the additional $5 million for May Park, sir?
I want to make sure I wasn't behind the ball.
All right. So calling for consensus, is there any objection to making sure that the $5 million for May Park is continued to be a part of the SPLOST 9 package? Is there any objection to that by show of hands?
No objection seen.
Madam Administrator, Madam Clerk, no objections noted to the $5 million for May Park. Now, colleagues, I don't know if we're going to come to a consensus on a new park out in the western part of the county for the folks along the Jimmy Dias Parkway. As I mentioned, keep in mind, we're talking 5 to 7 years before this materializes. And I think if somehow having monies available in the event that that area continues to grow, having the ability to do something, I think it would be prudent upon us, especially as we have conversations about consolidating parks. Extra revenues could be, could help in the effort, but, having it as part of the SPLOST collections will be beneficial, I believe. So, Chair, first, I'm going to recognize Commissioner Wimberly. You still in the queue? Oh. Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and what you just said is correct. It is going to take several years, and by then we don't know what the total population will be in the area by then. It definitely has grown now, but I'm with you on that. I'd like to be able to consent to be able to put money towards that area, planning for the future for the District 5 and District 3, and there's District 4 bumps into it as well. So I know I can't get it. I probably won't get a consensus today, but I do want to make sure that we do keep this in mind, that yes, we definitely need to look at doing a park, nice center off the Gordon Highway, Jimmy Dias area. We do. And the Mayor, you agree with me?
I agree. And, before we call for consensus, I want to make sure that the language is such that where these dollars are designated to that corridor. Madam Administrator, is there any way, if we were to keep this $10 million in, can we say it's for that corridor that's fast growing, and as we continue to consolidate parks and additional revenue is hopefully derived, that it could go towards that effort as we think about making these parks a little bit more strategic?
The verbiage is going to be really the point, and I'll defer to our legal on that as to what could be covered under the respective umbrella of how you identify it.
Attorney Plunkett, is there any,
So if the issue is to build, $10 million for, I think we could say park facilities in the western part of the county would be, you could get away with something like that. Always keep in mind that the list is, you can have a very generic list. You can say X number of dollars for parks and X number of dollars for public safety. What we have done in the past is incorporate a list with the actual IGA between the municipalities, so that the voters feel comfortable that these are the projects that we're going to do, so that when you go out and educate the population about what the projects are, they don't feel like they're going to be a bait and a switch or something like that. So we can be fairly, we can designate the money for an area, but it does not have to say for a park, or it doesn't have to be a park next to such and such neighborhood. So I think we could work on language that would get you there.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney Plunkett. Commissioner Scott from the 9th?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Johnson. Director Williams, maybe 2 years ago, we dedicated some money for Sue Reynolds. So there's some money, there's a pot of money that was dedicated to do some renovations. Not saying that we're going to keep Sue Reynolds, but there is some money. And I think I'm not sure exactly how much it was. So could you bring that back to me about how much it is? Also, $10 million. It's not going to be enough money. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, because the price of everything is going up. But also, $10 million is just for construction of a building. You got to think about, and what we ran into, Madam Administrator, with Henry Brigham's, is putting the furniture, putting the equipment, and the maintenance of the facility. So we know that it's going to be increased. So $10 million is not going to be enough money. Just like we did before I was elected, we had $5 million to come up with an idea or a water park. Now we're not even talking about the water park. And then I heard someone, I don't know if it was you, Attorney Plunkett, or not, saying we can do a generic list. Well, around here, generic lists stay generic, and they move money all the time for some other project. So I'm not sure if that's something that we want to continue to do. I'm not an accountant, I'm not finance team, but I do know that we do have generic lists, and the generic list never goes to, well, I shouldn't say never, but it's always where it was generic, and we could take it and move it to this place. And then we have, like now we're saying that we can go back to the voters with the with different projects that we have on previous SPLOST and use it, repurpose it for something else. So I think we need to get it. We need to be good students, and when we're up here making decisions for long-range plan, we need to make sure we're looking out for the constituents who go out and vote for what we ask them to do.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 9th. Commissioner Lonnie Wimberly for the 4th.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was on the same line as Commissioner Prince Scott was at, is how do we couch this to put money in the future? Now, I'll tell you this much. I have put money in SPLOST with no specific facility, just a major outline of what we would do with that money. I could see what the attorney is trying to say, but I will be very, very careful on how you try to put that, because Tim used to beat me over the head every time I tried to get some SPLOST money that didn't necessarily fit right. So I understand what you want to do, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. I want to protect the folks out in that, that fast-growing corridor.
Yeah, I understand that, and it's a good idea. It's a good plan, but 7 years from now, there's a lot of unknown that.
Well, again, Commissioner, if we don't do something now, you're talking 14 or 15 years from now before you can do anything. So I think by at least making a plan now, when 7 years comes around, we have something to do. It would not, in my opinion, be fair to them to say, we're not going to do it this time. Let's wait another 7 years after we do this SPLOST to see if we can get a park.
I don't think you have to do that, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Nine, Francine just gave you some idea. I think Tim could walk you through the process of how SPLOST work. That you did the renovation of Brigham by pulling money from other projects within the SPLOST. Not just one, but several.
So you're saying the entire Brigham Center was done by pulling SPLOST dollars from other projects? The entire project?
Pretty much.
Interim Director Schreier, is that true? Madam Administrator, how was Brigham completed? Was it was it not part of a SPLOST program?
It was part of the SPLOST program,
Some of it was.
but that was before my time, so I don't want to
Some of it
misstate something.
And see, we could do the same with this. The money is allocated.
That's what I'm telling you.
I'm glad you used that example. So if you think about where we are now, part of the dollars that we allocate can be used for hopefully a park out in the fastest growing part of our county, and then you pull dollars from other programs of the projects to finish if needed. But to not do something now and wait at least another 7 years at the fastest growing part of our county where there's so many youth, and the neighbors and the residents are they're really crying for something.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. So are you asking that we keep this $10 million in here with the idea that later on you might have to add more to it, even though you're not necessarily want to do the project right away?
Well, I'd like to do the project right away, but keep in mind, but at least we are showing a good faith effort that we put money into that community for a park. They're getting a fire station. That's happening, and I think as the growth continues, it certainly warrants having a park.
So then, in my opinion, you would have to raise this more than that $10 million.
Well, we'll certainly take the recommendation if you want to raise it. Is there any interest? If you raise it, can we gain a consensus?
You give it. I mean, if you want to,
Right, so-
you say you want to do something now.
Well, I'm just saying, I think planning for the future, $10 million certainly gives us an opportunity. And keep in mind, colleagues, there's a lot of money that's part of previous SPLOST packages that hasn't been used that gives us an opportunity to potentially claw back on. I mean, there's projects that, I'm not going to go into specifics, but having a plan for that community is in the best interest of our community. So I'm going to ask for a consensus on it to see if we can at least keep the 10 million. All right. Commissioner from the third.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, like you said, we got to keep in mind, too, this is going to be on the ballot on May 9th, and we got a lot of voters in that part of Augusta that are going to be looking to see, that's going to be something they're going to think about. If they don't see anything on a ballot that has, shows interest that, hey, we might get a park in 7 years. I mean, we can't kick this down the street, because if we do, it's going to be, if we don't do it this time, it's going to be 14 years probably if we don't do something. So keep in mind, people are going to be looking at the SPLOST list, and if they don't see something there for them in that part of Augusta, then it might hurt the SPLOST. It really might. We need to keep into consideration that. We got a lot of voters that are going to be looking at this, and we've told them that we would like to do something for them. I've said it up here on this dais, even when former Commissioner Hassan was here. I mentioned that we wanted to do a nice community center for them, and there's property out. There's property off Gordon Highway. There's property off Jimmy Dice. It doesn't have to be at the Sioux Reynolds. It doesn't. But let's keep in mind, I would like to be able to make a consensus that we put some money towards this, please.
All right, thank you, Commissioner from the third. Now I'm going to call for consensus on keeping the $10 million for a park out in the western part of Richmond County along the Jimmy Dice to Gordon Highway corridor. By hands, show consensus. It is not consented. There's only 2 of the 3. Madam Clerk, it is not consented. So is there consensus to remove it from the list? By show of hands. So there's no consensus to remove it either. Madam Administrator, I guess with this conversation, well, yeah, let's call for consensus again on keeping the 10 million for a park in the Jimmy Dice and the Gordon Highway corridor by show of hands. Madam Administrator, it's consented.
Okay. Just to go back to Mr. Mayor, was it a consensus on the sheriff's request that he had made on the 28th of October? Those were the modifications, which would bring the total to 457, 971, 300.
All right, consensus for the Sheriff's Department to build his jail pods, his modular pods. Chief Blanchard came and gave an explanation by show of hands. Consensus for the Sheriff's Department.
Consent, yes, please.
Madam Administrator, it is consented.
Thank you.
And truly, I'm hoping that as we have the discussion about, how we, I don't want to say divest of our parks, but take a more strategic approach to making these parks a little bit more regional, that, we're able to derive some cost savings that provides parks in areas that now need it. As I understand, the demographics in our communities have changed, and as people move further west, they're tax-paying citizens, they should be entitled to amenities as well. Madam Administrator, let's continue. Is there anything additional?
Other than going to whether or not there's anything else, any other projects that you'd like to see removed and or added.
All right, Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner Catherine Smith Rice.
Before we leave here today, I talked to Chief Burden, thank you, Mr. Mayor, about, and I feel like that I do want to hear from him. He's got three fire stations, and I feel we've allowed the Sheriff's Department to speak in Parks and Recs, but I would like to hear more from him about the facilities that he's got that are deplorable, so to speak. Chief?
So yes, ma'am. Thank you, governing body. So we utilize this effort to really focus on 2 main priorities. First and foremost, our apparatus replacement program. As you know, we were not included in SPLOST 8 in terms of our apparatus. And then addressing critical infrastructure. So we have 3 stations that average over 50 years old. And its maintenance continue to rise to keep these facilities operating. So in our ask, we're looking to replace or rebuild those 3 fire stations.
All right, Chief, with that request, is there a monetary ask? Is there?
Yes, sir. So our ask in terms of fire stations was $19.2 million. For the 3 stations at $6.4 million apiece to rebuild those stations.
And that is already currently on the list?
Sir, I believe we have 1 on the list, but we'd like to see if there's any consideration for adding the other 2.
So 6 million, so you're asking for an additional 12 million?
Around 14 million.
14 million?
So those stations, Fire Station 14, which is in Blythe, Fire Station 13, Lumpkin Road, and Fire Station 9, which is on Walton Way Extension. Those 2 stations, 9 and 13, are the most utilized with the highest call volume in the city.
Madam Administrator, you doing your math? What does that take our number to?
That would take us, we already are at 457, plus the 5 million for May Park, which takes us to 462, and another 14 million would take us to 476.
Ooh-wee. All right, Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 9th.
If my math is right.
Mayor Johnson, may I ask the administrator a question
Yes, ma'am.
about the Fleming?
Yes, ma'am.
Fleming Pond. And Fleming Pond. It was, and then it's here. So is it in the budget?
No, ma'am.
Mayor Johnson, I think we need another work session, because I see.
All right, I agree, because the numbers keep growing.
This is, here's some stuff.
All right. I would agree with that, Commissioner Scott. Is there anything else? You still in the queue? All right, Commissioner from the 3rd.
Thank you. This will be I guess, my final conversation on this today. But Chief, I do hear you with 3 that you need, and if we could at least maybe get 1 or 2, would that help you out a little bit?
Anything helps, Commissioner.
Yes.
Anything
Yes, sir.
helps,
But
you know.
I feel like, yeah, if we're working with others, I want to try to be as fair as we can across the board, and want to be able to help you out here. Public safety is top priority, so we want your facilities looking good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Administrator, how much do we have allocated for the fire department in the current request?
For the fire department, we have and the problem with the fire department, which is not the fire department's fault. I don't even want to say fault, but when the previous SPLOST was approved, there was nothing in there for the fire department. And I think that's what has brought on this additional burden for additional equipment, as well as his fire stations to be done. So, of course, it was submitted during the previous ask for SPLOST, but it was not added to the previous SPLOST. So he has been going quite some time without any new equipment, and that's why a lot of the items that you see on here are actual apparatus and things of that nature that his department desperately needs.
Okay, now that was the same for the sheriff's department, correct?
The sheriff's office did not have a lot on the previous SPLOST as well, nor the information technology department.
Okay. Commissioner Francine Scott from the 9th.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. Administrator Allen, what about our juvenile detention, Craig Colton?
Yes, ma'am, that's on here. We've actually increased it based on the numbers that they have provided, and we've had a meeting with Mr. Martin and the team.
So have they started working, or are they waiting on some money, or what are they doing?
They're actually looking at the respective design to make sure they can do what we need them to do within the numbers that we're estimating. So nothing has stopped. No, ma'am.
But they are in the SPLOST?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. All right, Madam Administrator, I think the commissioner from the 9th is right. She's probably going to take another work session. When is the next scheduled work session? There is another schedule, right?
December 4th.
December 4th. All right. Colleagues who have any other questions, or any department heads need to come in and make a request or make a comment? All right.
I would suggest they all be here, just in case.
December 4th. I would suggest you be here. Madam Administrator, I don't see any colleagues in the queue. Don't see any department heads interested in speaking. If there's no further business, this meeting's hereby adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.